Hey, Chris here from IELTSadvantage.com, and what if I told you that sleep plays a key role in getting the IELTS score you need? It sounds a bit too good to be true. It sounds like a scam. All you have to do is just sleep and then you'll get the IELTS score you need. So it's not as simple as just sleeping, but it's about how sleep affects our short-term and our long-term memory. And if you've ever had a problem with time management, so you can't finish the test on time, or you've had a problem with your vocabulary or your grammar or your fluency or anything at all, this is a really important video for you. So I shared this information with my VIP group this morning and the response was amazing. A lot of people said, that really makes sense, and this is the reason why I've been struggling. And it's not all like just, go to sleep and you'll get the IELTS score you need. And it's based on this book that I've been reading recently by Matthew Walker, Why We Sleep. It's an amazing book. I would really recommend it. And it's all about why we sleep and why sleep is important. And what's this got to do with IELTS? So let's think about this for a minute. When you first started learning how to drive a car or ride a bike or even tie your shoelaces, so think about when you were a kid and you were learning how to tie your shoelaces. It was a very, very arduous process. You had to think about all the different things you had to do, put this lace through here and tie this around here. And it took you a long time to do that. Or when you were learning how to drive a car, you consciously had to think about, where are the brakes? Where's the accelerator? Where's the indicator? Is the car in gear? What am I doing with my feet? It's a very, very mentally intense process, and it takes a very, very long time. So now when you're tying your shoelaces or you're driving a car, you do it automatically. You don't even think about it. So you could be tying your shoelaces and talking to someone at the same time. And why is that? Well, it's all to do with short-term memory and long-term memory. So when we're first learning something, everything is in our short-term memory, and we have to access our short-term memory, and that's also called our conscious memory sometimes. And you actually actively have to think about it. So when you're learning how to drive a car, you're thinking about all of the different things that you have to do. But over time, you move those things from your short-term memory over to your long-term memory. And your long-term memory is sometimes called unconscious memory because it allows you to do things unconsciously, like tying your shoelaces, for example. You don't even have to think about it. So for many of you, let's use writing task 2, for example. Many of you can't get it done in 40 minutes. So why is that? Why do many of you struggle to get it done on time? Or you're spending an hour and a half to get everything done properly, planning, writing, checking, all of those different things. Well, the reason for that is that most of the data, most of the stuff is in your short-term memory, and you actively have to think about this. So it takes time for you to do that. But what you need to do is to move that from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. So for me, it takes me less than 10 minutes to write an essay. But somebody who's just joined my course, it might take them an hour and a half. And we gradually get them down to under 40 minutes to write a task 2 essay. And why is that? Again, they're moving things from their short-term memory to their long-term memory. And how do you do that? Well, think about, again, tying your shoelaces, driving a car. What happened? You're doing lots of repetition, you're doing lots of practice. But when is that developed? When do we consolidate our memories from short term to long term? When we sleep. So there are lots of studies done on sleep and memory, and also lots of studies done on how we learn new skills, not just developing mental academic memory, but also muscle memory and how we learn new physical skills. And it's all developed when we sleep. So if you're getting 8 hours of sleep a night or more, you are far more likely to be able to do those things better, do those things well, than somebody who isn't getting enough sleep because they're not giving their brains enough time to learn this stuff. So also, it might affect vocabulary. So lots of you are learning lists of vocabulary but you're getting a really low vocabulary score in the test. Why is that? Because all your vocabulary is just stored in your short-term memory. People like myself, who I'm a native English speaker, I don't think about vocabulary when I'm speaking because it's all stored in my long-term memory. I know how to use it. So there's a big difference between memorizing vocabulary and being able to use vocabulary. Same with grammar. So think about your own native language, whatever that is. Do you think about grammar when you're speaking or when you're writing? Probably not. Again, it's not in your short-term memory, it is in your longer-term memory. And we develop that through learning the rules of the grammar, practicing the grammar, producing it, making mistakes, getting feedback on that, then sleeping, and then we'll be much better in the morning. It's not like you just go to sleep once and, you know, you'll be able to master every single rule in the English language the next day. But it does really, really help. Also for fluency. So many of you have problems with fluency in the speaking test. And one of the ways that an examiner will notice that your fluency is not as good as it could be will be that you'll pause, you'll hesitate, maybe you'll have an audible pause like Most of the time when students are doing that, they're either thinking of ideas or they're thinking of the grammar and the vocabulary that is in their short-term memory. Because if it was in their long-term memory, they wouldn't have to pause and hesitate and because they just don't have to think because it's all stored in their long-term memory. So how can we move things from here to here? Again, it is learning how to do it, practice, repetition, then sleep, and that is really, really going to help you. For many of you, what you want is you want to instantly move from a band 6 to a band 7. So science is telling you that that's not possible. You can't just memorize a bunch of stuff and then hope to regurgitate it in the test. It doesn't work like that. You have to learn things deeply, fully understand what you're doing, and develop that and move it into your long-term memory so that it becomes kind of automatic. You don't even have to think about it. And only then will you be able to get one of the higher bands, the band 7, the band 8s, and the band 9s. There's someone in the writing test or the speaking test that is getting a band 9, it's nearly all automatic, long-term memory, subconscious. I hope that you find that useful. Sorry about the clickbaity title. For many of you watching this, you would have probably thought, oh, all I have to do is sleep and get the score that I need. It's a massive part of it, but the most important thing is what you do when you're awake, obviously. So do the correct things when you're awake, get the sleep that you need, and get the score that you need. Thanks. Bye-bye.